the Aztecs. A name that echoes through time. They were a civilization of power and complexity. They emerged from the mists of Mesoamerica. In the 14th century they founded their capital, Tenochtitlan. It was an island city in the heart of Lake Texcoco. Today, Mexico City sprawls over its ruins. The Aztecs were a relatively young empire. They quickly rose to dominate ancient Mexico. From humble beginnings they forged a vast empire. They were skilled warriors and shrewd diplomats. They subjugated neighboring tribes. Their influence stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. At their head was the emperor, a living god. He commanded absolute obedience. The empire was tightly controlled through a system of tribute and alliances. The Aztecs were a deeply religious people. Their gods, powerful and demanding, influenced every aspect of life. To appease them, elaborate rituals were performed. Sacrifices, often human, were commonplace. These practices, though brutal to modern sensibilities, were central to their beliefs. They believed it ensured the sun's continued rise and the world's survival. The Aztec Empire was built on war. It was a necessity, not a choice. Their gods demanded blood. Their expansion relied on conquest. Young men yearned to be eagle or jaguar warriors. These elite warriors were the backbone of the Aztec army. They wore magnificent costumes. Eagles and jaguars were symbols of the sun and the underworld. Warfare was ritualized. Battles were fought not just for territory, they were fought to capture prisoners. These captives were essential for religious sacrifices. The Aztecs believed that the gods needed nourishment. They believed human hearts and blood were the most potent offerings. This belief fueled their constant need for war and expansion. Yet the Aztecs were not just ruthless conquerors. Their civilization was complex and sophisticated. They had a structured society, advanced agriculture, and breathtaking architecture. Their capital, Tenochtitlan, was a testament to their ingenuity. Built on a lake, it was a marvel of engineering and urban planning. Causeways connected the city to the mainland. Canals served as waterways for transport. Religion was the bedrock of Aztec life. It permeated every aspect of their society. The Aztecs worshipped a pantheon of gods. These gods controlled the forces of nature. They governed human destiny. The Aztecs believed that these gods needed constant appeasement. Without it, the world would fall into chaos. Human sacrifice was a central part of Aztec religion. It was not seen as an act of cruelty, it was seen as a sacred duty. They believed the gods sacrificed themselves to create the world. Humans, in turn, were obligated to nourish them with their blood. Sacrifices were carefully orchestrated rituals. They were performed by priests on top of towering pyramids. The victims were mostly prisoners of war. Sometimes they were volunteers. They considered it an honor to die in this way. They believed it guaranteed their place in paradise. The most common form of sacrifice involved removing the heart. It was offered to the gods while still beating. While this practice horrifies us today, it's crucial to understand it within its historical context. For the Aztecs, it was a deeply religious act. It was essential for maintaining the cosmic order. The Aztec Empire had a sophisticated economy. It was based on a combination of agriculture, trade, and tribute. At its heart was the humble cacao bean. It served as currency. It was also a valuable commodity. Markets bustled with activity. Merchants traded goods from across the empire. They exchanged gold, silver, and obsidian. They also traded textiles, pottery, and foodstuffs. Agriculture formed the backbone of the economy. The Aztecs were skilled farmers. They developed ingenious methods to cultivate their land. They created chinampas, or floating gardens. These artificial islands maximized farmland. They were built up in shallow lake beds. They provided a constant supply of fresh produce. Tribute played a crucial role in the Aztec economy. Conquered people were required to pay taxes. They paid in goods, raw materials, and labor. This system provided the Aztecs with a steady flow of resources. It fueled their expansion and sustained their lavish cities. This system, while seemingly oppressive, also fostered economic interdependence. It facilitated the exchange of goods and ideas throughout the empire. Section 5. Engineering marvels Chinampas and Causeways. The Aztecs were master engineers, leaving behind awe-inspiring architectural wonders. Their capital, Tenochtitlan, was a true marvel of urban planning and construction. Built on an island in Lake Texcoco, it was connected to the mainland by 3 great causeways. These raised roads were marvels of engineering, complete with bridges that could be withdrawn to provide a defense against invaders. Within the city, canals served as bustling waterways, facilitating transport and trade. Yet the most impressive engineering achievements were the Chinampas. These floating gardens represented ingenious feats of agriculture, created by piling mud and vegetation onto rafts, which were then anchored to the lakebed, creating fertile plots of land. Chinampas offered several advantages. They provided rich, fertile soil, allowed for year-round cultivation, and protected crops from flooding. This innovation allowed the Aztecs to sustain a large population and thrive in an environment not naturally suited to large-scale agriculture. The ingenuity and skill evident in these constructions demonstrate the advanced technological capabilities of the Aztecs. Section 6. The gods must be fed. Ritual cannibalism. One of the most controversial aspects of Aztec civilization is ritual cannibalism. Scholars debate its prevalence and purpose. Some argue that it was a regular practice driven by a need for protein, while others contend that it was primarily ritualistic and limited to certain ceremonies. What is clear is that cannibalism, if practiced, was intertwined with their religious beliefs. The Aztecs believed that consuming the hearts and blood of sacrificial victims transferred their power, an act reserved for elite warriors and priests as part of their communion with the gods. While repugnant to modern sensibilities, it is vital to avoid imposing our values on the past. The Aztecs lived in a world vastly different from our own. Their beliefs and practices, however strange they may seem, were shaped by their worldview, with their religion centered on the constant need to appease powerful gods, playing a central role in their daily lives. In the early 16th century, the Aztec Empire was at its zenith. It seemed invincible. Then strange tales reached the Aztec capital. They told of white-skinned, bearded men. These men arrived on the coast. They rode atop strange beasts. They carried weapons that breathed fire. The Aztec Emperor, Montezuma II, was both intrigued and apprehensive. He sent emissaries to meet these newcomers. They returned with tales of wonder. They described the Spaniards' horses and firearms. They brought gifts of gold and strange fabrics. Montezuma believed these strangers might be the gods returning. Aztec prophecy spoke of a deity, Quetzalcoatl, who would one day return from the east. He sent gifts of gold and feathers to the Spanish leader, Hernán Cortés. He hoped to appease these potential gods. He invited them to Tenochtitlan. This decision proved to be a grave miscalculation. It would seal the fate of the Aztec Empire. Montezuma's indecision and belief in prophecy contributed to his downfall. He hesitated to act decisively against the Spaniards. This allowed them to exploit the situation to their advantage. Hernán Cortés, the Spanish conquistador, arrived in Tenochtitlan on November 8, 1519. He was welcomed with great ceremony by Montezuma. The Aztecs, initially hospitable, were awed by the Spaniards' technology. They were also apprehensive about their intentions. Cortés, though outnumbered, was a shrewd strategist. He quickly realized the extent of the Aztecs' wealth. He coveted their gold and silver. He took Montezuma hostage. He hoped to rule through him. The Aztecs, outraged by this act, rose up against the Spaniards. In the ensuing chaos, Montezuma was killed. Cortés and his men were forced to flee the city. The Spaniards regrouped. They forged alliances with neighboring tribes. These tribes resented Aztec rule. The Spanish returned with a vengeance in 1521. They laid siege to Tenochtitlan. The siege was brutal and protracted. It lasted for months. The Aztecs, weakened by disease and famine, fought bravely. However, they were ultimately no match for the Spaniards' superior weaponry. The fall of Tenochtitlan in 1521 marked the end of the Aztec Empire. The Spanish victorious claimed the land and its riches as their own. They razed Tenochtitlan to the ground. They built their new capital, Mexico City, upon its ruins. The Spanish conquest was a tragedy for the Aztecs. It was a pivotal moment in world history. It marked the beginning of Spanish dominance in the Americas. It had a profound impact on the indigenous populations. The Aztecs, though conquered, did not disappear entirely. Their descendants still live in Mexico. They carry on the legacy of their ancestors. Their art, language, and traditions survive. They are a testament to the enduring spirit of this once great civilization. The echoes of their empire can be seen in the ruins of their cities. They can be heard in the languages spoken by their descendants. The Aztecs left an indelible mark on the world. Their story is a reminder of the rise and fall of civilizations. It is a tale of ambition, innovation, and ultimately, tragedy. Their legacy continues to fascinate and inspire us. The Aztec Empire, though relatively short-lived, left a lasting legacy. They were innovators in agriculture, engineering, and urban planning. Their Chinampas, causeways, and aqueducts were marvels of engineering. They demonstrate a deep understanding of their environment. Their astronomical observations and complex calendar system were remarkably accurate. Their art, with its intricate designs and vibrant colors, continues to captivate. Their myths and legends offer a glimpse into their worldview. They provide insights into their beliefs about life, death, and the cosmos. The Aztecs remain an enigma. Much of their history was lost or destroyed during the conquest. Archaeologists continue to unearth new discoveries. These findings shed light on this fascinating civilization. We are left to wonder what else might be hidden beneath the sands of time. What other secrets do the Aztecs hold? Their story is a reminder that history is not just about the past, it is a living, breathing tapestry. It continues to shape our present and influence our future. The Aztecs, with their triumphs and tragedies, are an integral part of that tapestry. Their story deserves to be remembered and told.